Sunday, June 17th, 2018. And I'd like to welcome you, Crypto Day Morning. Like always, everything within your own risk, own reward. For myself, managing the portfolio, risk reward management, always job number one. Dash had an interesting 2016. It started the year down here. You can notice a few higher highs and higher lows along the way. Ultimately topping in here. And then having a bull market sell-off, I guess you could say, near the end of 2016. And then it really got going in here when the bull market for crypto started. I guess you could say Dash was an early indicator to such a run. But at this stage, the vast majority of altcoins were in very, very large downtrends at lows, all-time lows for most cases, crossed against Bitcoin. And then this had a monstrous rally. This was like a 12x move from low to high, at least from this low. And nothing but choppy up and down action. So we have a high at about the 140 handle that comes down to 40. Up to 77, back above 40, and then up to 84, then to 45, then to about 100, to 35, well, we can get the picture here that a lot of these moves have fantastic volatility available to it. Then this low here only had a move up to here so far. Or you could say highs and lows are known after the fact. And I'm not going to count this as a low because it's breaking lower. And it really is back in the, I mean, this overall, if you look at it from these lines, this is the buy zone and the sell zone is like in here. If you want to play the range game, because there's decent volatility within it. And yeah, there's always a chance that this thing could break down and hit this level in here. Of course, there's an interesting look when we take a look at this on a more shorter term. This is the weekly chart. So why don't we take a look at this next on a daily term time frame, and price action has moved up to the 18 average of highs. It did so yesterday. Holding in there for today. Nice down candle really, because it's kind of bullish when short term it looks so anyway. But is there enough to say it's worth the play? It's got an interesting setup. Here we got this. Obviously in a downtrend. Making this high. Doesn't survive the 18 in here, thus a new low. Retested that level. And then another big move that goes below the 18. Obviously it didn't find successful support here. Another retest of this level. And then this time it successfully supported it for over a half a dozen periods. Now we're back up at it again at this high. Coming back down to this point. This thing, it's almost like an inverted head and shoulders pattern. But you can draw like a U shape, a curve like this, and have a straight line. This thing has very, very good potential and getting out above this level here. We take a look at Dash against the US dollar. And we'll start within a 400-minute time frame, which is showing this in a very much in a declining situation as the price was well over 500. And it has now given back more than half of those highs, making a lot of lower lows along the way. But what are we seeing within such? Well, we're seeing that it might be ready for a pop to the upside. There's the last low, so we've managed to make it up a lower high to this point, the higher low, and showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs after a green candle up. So that looks pretty good. Now, if I expand this to a more longer term time frame, there's actually a head and shoulders pattern that is forming on the dash cross against the US dollar. And you can't see it too well here because I haven't showed enough data. It did have this level of support at about 280. Broke below that. But hey, maybe it can make a lower high rally based on the fact that its short-term stuff looks pretty good. But the case would be something like the left shoulder area being in around here, the head up towards here. So this price was even at 1500. So how often can you say this market within the last year has given back about 5/6 of its value? And for the year, it is up about 60%, maybe 40%. However, for the last, saying it even better, for the last 2 years, we'll say, that's at $6. So 260 divided by 6, that would be about about 40 times. So it's up 40 times in the last 2 years. And since the start of the year, or the end of Christmas, around Christmas time last year, it's lost 5/6 of its value. And when we finish this off within a weekly term time frame, it's kind of like the pattern in there. However, we look at this through the 18. This thing in an uptrend since the start of it in here, since it broke out. A little bit of action under the 18 here, no big deal there. Successful support every single time to that high at around 1600. And then it comes back to the 18 here where it resists it. It doesn't support. Leg lower. Then the newly declining 18 is resisting. And now it's just barely breaking down, hovering below that line. So I think it's safe to say that if Bitcoin goes to 3,000, breaking its key 6,000 level, this too is going to go down as well. And then fill some of this empty gap space. Now, if Bitcoin doesn't, if it successfully finds support at 6,000 area and goes higher, then I'm going to think that this will successfully find support into the 200s, 250, 225 area like it is where it's priced at now, and go up with Bitcoin. Overall, there's a lot of volatility available in this, making it always candidates for that of day trades, which of course, as I'm showing you right now, has that potential. But because of the bear market status within this market, then it's a lot of caution risk along the way. This is a spot where if I want to make an aggressive trade, I would probably want to see the price first come up above here. Hopefully it just doesn't go up to like 270 to 300 instantly and show some sort of pattern like higher volume coming in. That would be an instant play for me there. Or maybe see it do something like this and then come back, and just a pattern of this kind of nature. And then I'd be possibly looking to get in, and I'm actually still might. I could very easily buy Dash against US dollars in seconds, but I don't want to do so unless it has a nice break. I'm going to give a bonus ETC chart because my plan originally was just to talk about two, which was this one, Dash and ETC, because they're very interesting short-term setups. So quickly, let's take a look at ETC. And within this, it had the big rally on up and towards here. Sell-off, correctionary move. It filled this gap, established some key levels of support. Now in a range between 209 to 203. But had this rally back up to the key fib level. It's holding right now fairly decent. We look at this on a daily chart. This is an interesting look here. because that big green candle up breaks. It goes from below the 18 of lows to well below, that is, to well above. Enough that the price correction from the 240 handle down to the 208 handle found support at the 18 average of highs, and it successfully did so for three periods. It did so on June the 13th, 14th, and 15th. Then yesterday's session, it breaks out above that point, leaving the 18 average. So a nice little interesting setup. And I think if this thing can get going again, it can retest the previous high from the May area, which would be at around the 260 handle. But nice little interesting setup. Very hard to find them right now in the crypto space, with everything, of course, in its bear market. While I'm waiting for the key decision on Bitcoin, as of course it's been in this symmetrical triangle shape, realizing that if this thing has this move down here, I'm going to expect all the cryptos to do such. And whenever this thing is ready to bottom, and you can talk about stuff like point low, miniature point highs and point lows along the way, that when this low is set after the fact and we work on the next high, that a lot of the other ones will be doing the exact same thing as well. Thank you for tuning in to today's video, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.